What's up, AfterBuzzers? Justice has finally been served. Or has it? Ugh, the story is far from over, and we're going to talk all about it tonight. Time to shed some light and darkness on the Cloak and Dagger After Show on AfterBuzz TV.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Ooh. This
All
song.
these expressions tonight are killing it.
This song perfectly describes the ending of the somber, like, bittersweet.
The singer looks nothing like I thought he would. I thought low-key this was Aubrey Joseph singing.
Oh
And
my
then
gosh,
I-
it does
Yeah,
sound
and
like
then
him.
and then I googled it for the show, and I was like, that is not Aubrey Joseph.
No.
Totally sounds like him. That's insane.
But this is from the Cloak and Dagger
yeah.
soundtrack that just dropped.
We're loving the Cloak and Dagger
So
soundtrack
good.
too.
On their Instagrams after the episodes, they always put the soundtrack list. So you guys should check that out.
Yeah, definitely check it out after the show for sure. But first off, we got to say thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Cloak and Dagger After Show. We're going to be covering episode 8, Ghost Stories. Let me tell you, this episode shook us to the core. Unfortunately, this isn't a live episode. We're doing it pre-taping it because the three of us are going to be at Comic-Con 2018.
Woo! Woo!
I am your host, Oliver Drennan. We're super excited, and my question for my lovely panel to my left, as they introduce themselves to you guys, is what are you most excited for Comic-Con 2018?
Sorry, it's really hard to wear headphones with this big of hair.
But honestly, you guys, let's just give her some kudos. She looks fierce,
amazing.
beautiful, fine.
Oh, thank you so much. But I'm most excited about the shows that AfterBuzz gets to cover, like the panel. I mean, we get to check out Cloak and Dagger, a bunch of other like really dope Marvel and DC shows. I'm really excited to get to chat with those people.
Yeah, I'm so excited about. Well, Cloak and Dagger obviously would be so cool to if we can lock those interviews in. But I love the people that just go to these events, the cosplayers, just the comic book environment, the Marvel DC fans. It's the most welcoming, nice place ever. So I'm open to anything. I'm just excited.
Oh yeah, the cosplay for sure.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, I'm excited for all of the above. And if you guys are going, find me, Drew, and Steph there. Hit us up so we can meet y'all. We're going to be there, and it's going to be so much fun.
Yes.
But right now, we got to talk about this episode. Okay.
I know. I need to pick myself up because I was like, that was a lot for my emotions.
It was just very heavy because going into this is the anniversary of, you know, the incident of the death of Billy and the death of Tandy's father. And we're going to be talking about Tyrone today. We're going to be talking about Tandy. We're going to be talking about Bridget. We're going to talk about our giveaway. We have some quick little news. And of course, we have our special character corner that Drew is going to slay as she does week after week. So initial thoughts of the episode, y'all.
I watched this show. I feel like how people watch sports. You two can attest because you watch it with me. I was doing a lot of screaming. I was
Theorizing.
I was like, ooh, he did. Which I was right. We'll talk about that later. And, you know, it was a lot of being upset and overjoyed at random times.
Totally.
It was such a good episode. It felt like a movie. I agree. Drew was absolutely right. She was freaking out. We were freaking out. It was a situation. But they keep upping it every week in a different way. And it's like, even though there was a lot of sad things that happened, I still sense like hope is brewing.
Totally. And I think that, like you said, I agree that it's very cinematic. And I think this episode had a good balance of like some humor, some intense scenes. The chase scene, oh my gosh, we're gonna dissect that chase scene for sure. And also, it just seems like each episode is so different, yet it's cohesive at the same time. Like I think that each one is not. There's no filler episode in this season, not yet, and I don't think there will be because the writing and the storytelling is just phenomenal. So our first topic, we got to talk about Tyrone because Tyrone, I'm so proud of it. He killed it in this episode. Aubrey. Justice. He got his well-deserved justice. For now. I'm going to celebrate, though. So what do we think?
I loved seeing, like, the contrast between how Tandy's family deals with that day and then how Tyrone's, because it kind of plays into their powers, you know? Like, Tyrone's family kind of just pushes it aside and like doesn't really focus on it, and it's just a day full of like tension. And I thought one of my favorite parts of the entire Tyrone storyline was seeing his dad kind of have that moment where he broke down. One, because it's just a beautiful thing to see Black masculinity in a fragile light and watching someone like portray emotion, because we don't get to see that a lot. And it was just a really pure and raw moment, and just seeing that throughout this entire episode was just like refreshing. And I'm so glad that, you know, justice has been served for now, except for our boy Fuchs.
Oof.
Pour one out for Fuchs.
Seriously.
Oh my gosh.
Tyrone really was an MVP. He's full on Cloak this episode. I mean, I was like, this is a lot for me to handle. Yeah, a lot for me to handle in the best way possible. And I just feel like his whole, it was like a coming of age tale in one episode for him, learning how to really use his powers, having the moment with his dad, getting his bejeweled cloak that he clearly worked on, and then going through the twists of kind of the backstory we see of him and Tandy, but in specific him with the auntie, Auntie Clarice.
Yeah, that was really, I was like, when Steph, we were watching it together and Steph brought that up, and I was like, oh my gosh, that totally is her. So everything, there is like a connection to everything. And that was funny. I remember she was talking about how the ghosts are there, and the ghosts is about giving your own for another. And that was in the flashback. So I'm thinking, okay, what does that mean? Like, I was thinking, because, you know, I think if one of them has to die, is that possibly foreshadowing Cloak giving himself for Tandy? Or I don't know, did that stand out to you at all?
Yeah,
what did you think?
I definitely felt like it played into the divine pairing thing. I still feel like our theory about like two becoming one, like maybe like the death of self and like whatever. I think that's still probably what's going to happen. But it was very cool to see that kind of come into fruition, like to see her kind of say something to him, and then all these years later there be some sort of attachment there.
I have a kind of a question that's a little off topic, but it's kind of pertains to the energy from last week's episode that we kind of got a little more more information about, and this energy inflicts fear on everyone, and I feel like this energy is what it was inflicted into Tandy and Tyrone. So what do you guys think? Why didn't it affect them negatively? Because we saw the people in Dr. Hess's head, they were like zombies. So why do you think that they were is it just because they're strong enough, or is it something else?
Well, a lot of people have theorized that this is dark force or dark matter, which is what Cloak is. I mean, that's kind of like his power there. And then part of Tandy's powers is that it doesn't affect her at all. So if it's basing it off the comic books, then I do think it's like a dark matter or dark force situation, and it doesn't affect them because it's part of who they are.
Yeah, I was also wondering, because like in the comics they played around with them being mutants, but they're no longer mutants, but now they're considered mutates.
Yeah.
So there's that whole thing. So
I read that.
So I was wondering like what you guys thought about that. So we're gonna have to wait and see for more information. But I totally love your breakdown of that for sure. But what I really loved in this episode, that Ty, he wasn't seeking vengeance. He was seeking revenge in a way that was completely justified. Like, he wanted Connor's behind bars. You know, you think like, oh, he's darkness, so he wants to kill Connors for killing his brother. But the way he went about it in this episode, and he was teamed up with Bridget, and we're going to talk about Bridget, but I'm totally here for Bridget supporting Tyrone. Were you guys happy with how it went down and how Connors was locked up for now?
Well, I think it shows growth in Tyrone for what he wants, because, and I mean, obviously with Tandy too, we kind of see growth with her as well, with how she handles her situation. But with Tyrone, for the longest time, it's been revenge. You know, this is what you shelled out, this is what I'm going to give back. And for him to get justice, because justice and revenge aren't the same thing. For him to have trust and justice, I think was a huge moment for him.
Yeah, I think he's definitely stepped up as just like a person in general, because he really pursued Bridget O'Reilly and he was like, I'm going to do this with or without you. So you're in or you're out. And he was going to do it anyways. And he came up with this, like, it seemed like it wasn't a good plan, but little does she know that he's Cloak, and developed this really creepy, smart plan. And the whole filming of it was amazingly done. Like, just shout out to the whole production team and the effects team, the way he was coming in and out. It was just such a cool scene.
I really like that in the scene with the Red Hawks and how Tyrone's looking at his brother's cloak, and he says, what even is the difference between a cloak and a cape? And he says a cape is just an add-on of a shirt, but a cloak hugs you. And I like that theory, or that like idea, because it kind of makes me feel like the reason he can control it is because it's almost like Billy is hugging him. Like Billy's has his hand on him, and he's able to zone in on that like sense of content and be able to like really go through his powers.
Yeah, it just makes me think of like, you don't want capes, because you know what happened in Incredibles.
No cape.
It's the cloak. This is the era of the cloak, that's for sure. Absolutely. But now, did you want to tell the viewers about subscribing to us stuff? Because this is very important.
Wait, I'm so sorry. Before we get into that, because I know that means we're going to switch to a different topic. But I really quickly, last week people kept saying that Cloak doesn't use his powers on offense, he only uses it on defense. After this episode, that literally can't be up for debate ever
Yeah,
again.
I was thinking that. You said that last time.
He used his fear. He used fear as an offense, and it was offense all night. So
he used the full spectrum of his power, though, even more so than Tandy, I feel like, by touching him, seeing his fears. But I was wondering, I don't know if there's a discrepancy in the comics of this. Can he see, because it seemed like he saw his worst thought. Is that also your fear? But I thought your fear was more like future or some, you know what I'm saying?
But it's not necessarily just fear. It's negative, like it's negativity in general. It's the darkness. So whether it's the thing that eats away at you. So that could be guilt, that could be fear, that could be regret. Like we see it in a lot of different forms, but it's not just necessarily fear. And also, I mean, fear and regret and all those things that go kind of hand in hand together.
Yeah. No, I just didn't know if it was completely fear and hope, but I didn't think it was.
I definitely think like they ties into like just your fears holding you back, and that can be like a plethora of things for sure. And like just like you said,
offense.
Yeah.
Yes, that was offense. What Ollie was saying, you guys, you know that AfterBuzz brings you all your favorite after shows on basically every TV show, but the more that you guys subscribe to us, the more shows we can cover. We have drama, reality TV, sci-fi, and more. There's no network that works harder to serve television fans because we love it just as much as you guys. And if you're worried about those pesky notifications, we don't do that if you don't want to. They're optional, so you can sign out of those. So after you watch this episode and like this particular episode, make sure to subscribe to your AfterBuzz YouTube channels. Like I said, there's dramas, there's the sci-fi superhero, which we're on, and there's so many others. So let us know that you did in the comments, and we'll thank you on air. But yeah, so you guys hit that subscribe button.
Yep, subscribe to us because we have a lot of good shows, a lot of good Marvel shows, DC shows, reality shows. Get into it because there's so much, because we love all different types of shows. So we have to get on to Tandy now, because Tandy, she was on a mission. I mean, they were both on a mission, but she was on a very, like,
Yes.
I got nervous for sure. She shows up, boy's house, Tyrone's house. First off, Tyrone's parents did not seem like they were in a good mood at all. And Tyrone's mom, I know we're talking about Tandy, but Tyrone's mom, something's up with her, don't you think? Like, she just seems like she's clearly...
I mean, it's the day of her son's death. I think it's like a legitimate
I just think, yeah, her ties with Roxanne, though, like, I question them for sure.
I see that.
You know? So, and I wonder if she's feeling guilty, but we'll get into that later in future episodes. But Tandy, oh my gosh, this was so funny to see Tandy at Tyrone's house. What did you think of this scene? Because I was here for the scene.
The face expression that his parents made was hilarious to me for a lot of reasons. Just because I've seen that same look with my parents when my brother has brought home girls. But I don't know. You could tell how uncomfortable Tyrone was, and I thought it was like a fun, not like a fun. I mean, it was a very serious episode, but I thought it was a more light-hearted moment between the two of them, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, we were all confused because we're like, we know Tandy pretty well now after these few episodes, and I know she doesn't come at parents like that. So I was like, was that really awkward, you guys? And then Drew was like, nah, she's up to something. And then lo and behold, she was. She's such a little snake.
I'm still like, how did she take the mom's ID card? Like, how
She's
did she do it?
professional.
I thought it was weird when she put her bag down, because I was like,
Yeah.
why are you making yourself at home? And then that's
Taking
when
her
I was
shoes
like,
off.
oh, you're up to something.
You called it, because I was just like, oh, she's this, like, they're friends now. Like, they're a team. Like, she's just there for him, obviously. But no, she had her own agenda. She always has her own agenda. So
Yeah, she's like Miss Sloan. Like, she's 2 steps ahead of everyone always. Tyrone is starting to pick up, though.
but yes, for sure, absolutely. But I was getting nervous because I felt like she really was on the path of vengeance, for sure. Like, she wanted Peter Scarborough dead. And that ties into the comics of how they were like merciless, like vigilantes. So I was like, okay, so now that we have Tyrone, when I was watching it, I was like, okay, Tyrone, he got his justice. But I'm thinking, okay, Tandy, she's going to get, some blood on her hands. And I think that would really raise the stakes. But obviously it didn't turn out that way. Do you think it was a right decision at the end of the episode? Because we see Tandy. Well, okay, a couple things happen. We see Tandy take the money from Scarborough after deciding at first she was going to blackmail him, but she took the money because she found out her dad, which was hinted early in the episode, wasn't as good as he seemed growing up.
Yeah. Well, there's just like a lot to unpack with Tandy. First, like, I'm also kind of worried about Mr. Hess still, or Ivan Hess, because
I would have would have gotten him killed
I
on
definitely think
sight.
His days are numbered.
Yeah. I don't know how he knows so quickly.
Scarborough was there when she was with Dr. Hess.
But
I know. I'm saying, like, how did he find out that he had woken up?
Well, he has assassins, so I'm not even
I'm sure, like, Mina obviously doesn't know that it's fishy. It wouldn't be fishy for Mina to be like, oh, my dad's awake, or like to alert Roxanne about that.
Yeah, I'm just kind of disappointed because it was part of my prediction that they would know that they have to hide him. But I guess, because I would think Tandy would have warned Mina, but maybe she doesn't trust her like that yet. But what were you saying, Drew?
I'm having a blank.
Ivan Hess.
Oh yeah, I'm just worried about Ivan Hess. I think he's slowly but surely going to start remembering things. Only because we see in this episode, Mama Bowen is like completely together, and I absolutely think that my theory about Tandy being able to help her addiction issues is like, because that's what she does in the comics. Is she's able to help people with their addictions, and her mom like completely disregarded putting any type of alcohol in her coffee, and Tandy was kind of like taken aback by that. So I think maybe the presence of Tandy will help, like,
Ivan,
like get his memories back.
Oh yeah, I think that's that it would be a good idea. That'd be dope. I would love to see that, if your prediction on that come true, because that would just be like the coolest power ever, to be able to heal people like that.
Well, that's kind of like what her power is. Like, she can clear the mind, and whether that's addiction or, like memory loss or whatever. And they were kind of, I mean, there's not that many comics, so they could, if they wanted to, expand what that ability is. So
yeah, I remember in the comics, in their miniseries, I remember seeing that actually enacted out on like a druggie, and she was like such an addict. And when she was cured, she was like, that's all she knew. So it could also have like very like strange effects, I imagine. It's like, if you're addicted, you're such an addict, drugs and alcohol is all you know, like your life is like purified. Like, what's next? What's the next step? So I can see them totally playing around with that for sure in the future.
yeah.
Well, that kind of just, I don't know. You remember when she's stuffing the money in the like,
little
Virgin Mary? It kind of like, her powers are kind of similar to, it just gave me that idea, like in church when Virgin Mary is lit up.
I know this is getting into predictions, but I just think that, maybe she should have killed Peter Scarborough, just because blackmailing him. Now that she's like, oh, I'm not going to blackmail you anymore, just give me the money. I think he's going to retaliate because she knows too much, you know? Obviously, that's predictions. That's why I was like, oh, Tandy. I was like, woo, Team Tyrone. Tandy, ooh, you messed up.
But I feel like killing Scarborough doesn't do anything. I feel like it's like chopping off the head, 3 more pop out. So I think it was smart on her behalf to not kill him. And I think taking the money was the smarter thing to do out of the two. Because in his mind, he probably thinks he's paid her off. It's whatever. He has nothing to worry about at this point, you know? So I don't think he's really going to be the biggest issue that we have to deal with in these last 2 episodes.
Oh my God, that's crazy. That's just crazy because 2 more episodes, I'm like, who's the big bad? And we still have that assassin on our hands for sure. So
I just think that it was stupid to even reveal herself to him like that. She came in with a spaghetti tank.
Fashion.
I am sorry, but she was doing some business, and I get it. Like, she wants to avenge her father's death and all of this, but I just don't think that was the smartest way. Like, it's a lose-lose for her. Like, she doesn't care about that dirty money.
she should have had some kind of cognito to shield her identity for sure. Like, I would have loved her to have like a white masquerade or something, looking like the Dazzler.
Yes.
But I think that was part of her. I think it was her making Scarborough face what he did by her revealing her face, because she's like, you like left me without my father. You've left. I mean, this was before we obviously know that he kind of sucks, but this is her being face to face and like confronting, you know, the man that was responsible for making her father.
I just think she's gonna regret it.
Well, I mean, obviously, it's obvious at Marvel, like they're not gonna. This isn't gonna be tied up
plot device
in a nice, pretty bow. But I think she didn't have a win-win situation to begin with, so I think she took the better lose out of that lose-lose situation.
It's totally a lose-lose situation because she's screwed up right now. She's lived her whole life trying to avenge her father, who she thought was this like holy guy, and he's not. I mean, that's a big reason why her mom probably started going to addiction.
Yeah, but I also think
absolutely.
I think that's probably why we don't really see her in the costume, or like see her taking some form of that costume, because I don't think she's come to terms with she's not coming to peace with anything yet. She's still really angry. I think we kind of see Tyrone come to peace with justice over revenge, and that's why we get to see him in the cloak. And I feel like they're just visual representations. Also, I just really hope they don't make her costume like it was in the comics, because
Oh no, it's
I
all
don't
free
think
form.
so, yeah.
but
It's gonna be very tasteful, I think.
who knows, because Freeform had our boy Fuchs in the refrigerator, and that was hella graphic. So
But I did hear talks from the showrunner in the Collider interviews that it would be an updated outfit.
yeah. I'm
So
just-
hopefully,
And even if it's like a
but
little gray or something, like
Yeah,
I don't
not
mind it white.
pure
but
white, like that's gonna get dirt on
the
it. Like,
gap from her neck to
Yeah.
her
Yeah.
mane is like large.
yeah, that's it was too much.
now, before I move on to Bridget, I thought it was really cool because I don't know was this the first time that they got to see each other's like or the mom's fear and hope at the same time.
That was a different trick.
I don't think it was her hope, though. I think it
Well,
was.
at the beginning, it seemed like it was the hope because she was looking at the screen and she was like at the movies. She saw like the happy life with her husband.
If you remember in the beginning of the episode when she's telling Tandy about how her and Nathan came together, she says it was the movies, and Tandy says, "I thought you said the ballet," and she was like messed up on the memory of it, and I think it's because she had those memories suppressed because he ended up being a tool. And so I think what we saw was her trying to cover up a memory, like any abuse, like physical domestic violence victim would. They try to rewrite the memory, and then Tandy's light cut through that darkness, and she was able to see what the truth was.
They said it when they walked into the theater that it was a memory in a memory.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Wow. I didn't even think of that. That's like really, oh my God, I'm so shook right now.
Well,
no, but I
that's
think
when
that
we
was
were
really
like, sorry, this show, that's when we were all like, this show keeps taking it to like another direction that we're like, whoa.
Yeah, and but I think that wasn't that cool. I think that was the first time that they got to see like a fear together, or am I wrong? I don't know. I could be wrong. It was just really cool to see them actually see that together.
I think it was the first time that they've.
Unless I'm blinking, I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
it was because
I mean,
they've
unless you
never
count
been able to touch.
Yeah, unless you count Ivan's situation, then yeah, they haven't been in anything together. They've seen each other's, fears, but
They
weren't like together during that.
Well, you know what was scary was seeing Bridget at the end of the episode open up that refrigerator, which got a little graphic, a little tease of her man, Fuchs. Is it Fuchs?
Listen, the second he made her pancakes and called her his girlfriend, I said to you both, he's dead. I said he's dying.
I was like,
The
okay.
moment he didn't give syrup.
But she ate it. She was like, I'm ready for this without the syrup. No
She's
butter.
a ride or die.
She loves her man.
Good for her. But also, I was like, yeah, that's a viable option. But also, Steph brought up the fact that, like, oh, maybe he's working with Connors or he has I don't know. But he seems like
It seemed a little too deep, like there was something else.
Yeah, but clearly.
No, he was just a good dude. He was a Greg.
No, but I think he knew, maybe he had worked with Connors in the past. And so it was like, but now he wanted to flip on him because he's like, I don't want all of that.
I think, yeah, he definitely cared about Bridget for sure because he was, like, really worried for her. And, like, 2 episodes ago, I remember seeing, he was just like, be careful.
Yeah, he warned her.
He definitely knew, like, he definitely knew what type of guy Connors was because, like you said, he previously warned Bridget about it. And so I don't think it was a matter of him being a bad guy or him working with Connors. I think that look between him and Connors was like I'm not going to hide anymore. I'm not going to be afraid. And Connors mentioned when he confessed to killing Billy, he said that my uncle helped me cover it up. And I think it might have to, because we've seen so many little Easter eggs that have to do with Kingpin, I think Connor's uncle might be Kingpin. And I would be interested to see.
Do you think they'll have, like, Kingpin in the future?
I think,
maybe not season 1.
I think sometimes with season 1s, though, like, the big bad won't necessarily be a big bad. It's more about coming, especially with comic shows,
like
it's coming into, it's like coming into their powers and stuff. So I think it's going to be like a cliffhanger type of ordeal, which I would be so down for.
Well, I'm really enjoying Bridget because I feel like with her in the comics, she was just like such a pest. Like she was just constantly like,
she kind of is.
No vigilantes, be above the law. Like that's all about the law. Or don't be above the law. But you have to like respect the law. But with here, clearly she is already like a vigilante, just like Mayhem. She's kind of Mayhem already in a sense. But I'm really enjoying her character because I pictured, okay, she's just going to be like constantly up, Tyrone and Tandy's butt, But I really loved her really being there for Tyrone and seeking justice. That shows a lot about Bridget.
Well, I think because the comics do take place in New York, and she's from New York already in the show. So I'm wondering if, because she also hinted that she said she'd seen this before, and she brought up her friend Misty, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I think the whole strict I'm going to follow the rules thing was probably how she was in the beginning in New York, and we're seeing a more lighthearted, jagged, worn out version of Bridget O'Reilly. That's closer to becoming Mayhem.
Kind of like a gray character. I mean, she was doing the cocaine and everything. And I think that if you're like not a great character, you won't survive in this show. If you're like a nice guy,
the clear ones don't make it.
They don't. Greg,
Fuchs.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was gonna make her a big breakfast. He actually had syrup on the table this time.
There was a lot of food out there. It was nice.
But it's also probably because they had to clear out the refrigerator to stuff his body in it.
I feel like they're screwed though, because right after you turn a cop and then you show up dead in your refrigerator, like this is gonna stir up something way bigger.
Oh, for sure.
This could turn into like a Gotham City.
We got 2 episodes to find out what's gonna happen. Well, Drew brought up our girl Misty Knight, and it's time for our special segment of the episode, Character Corner with Drew. And she's going to break down a very special character from the comics.
Yes. So, Bridget O'Reilly mentioned that she'd already seen this before. She wasn't really surprised by Tyrone because she said, have I ever told you about my friend Misty? Now, it has to be Misty Knight from the comics, who was also in NYPD. She has like a bunch of different powers. She's really good at fighting and yada yada yada. But she she's pops up in like Luke Cage, Iron Fist, so she's very much in the same realm. I feel like I'm rocking her hair a little bit today.
You are.
I feel like I have Misty Knight vibes. But yeah, she's never had her own comics or anything. She's always been kind of someone who pops up. So I wouldn't be mad if she were to pop up eventually. But she
Has a bionic arm.
yeah, she has a bionic arm by Tony Stark. Iron Man does her bionic arm, which I think is really cool. There's not a lot of information, like background information on her, but I definitely think it would be cool to see her pop up on the show. I hope that they make the character, like the more like Marvel characters they bring in, I hope they're ones we haven't gotten to see yet in any Marvel universe. So she would definitely be a dope one to bring in, especially because like New Orleans, you know, like I feel like she fits that vibe.
Because
What is she in the Luke?
Right now she's just on Luke Cage, and she's on she's been appeared in Defenders, and I think she's gonna be on the next season of Iron Fist too. She'll make an appearance too.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping for Daughters of the Dragon with her and Colleen.
Yes.
Thank you
Looking
so
like
much.
Ebony and Ivory.
Oh
I live.
yes. Thank you so much for that character corner, educating
welcome.
all of us. So
Most
it's
welcome.
time to get to a little news, just a little Comic-Con news, right? Stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
As you guys know, Ollie, Drew, and I will be at Comic-Con. We'll be there all week. So if you guys are there, hit us up. But also hit us up on Twitter. We'll be going on Instagram and all of those things, trying to stay in touch with you guys, giving you guys the lowdown of the days and things that have happened. So make sure to follow us. And then after, on AfterBuzz and Popcorn Talk, we will have the red carpet interviews and the different things that we have going on. So make sure to keep your eyes open for that.
Heck yeah. Super excited. It's going to be amazing. I have to get like a portable charger so I can stay in touch with all of you guys and the fans and whatnot.
Yes, but write in the comments what you guys would want, if we have time, obviously, what you guys would want to ask any of the cast of Cloak and Dagger.
But yes, ask away. That is a brilliant idea because we would love to hear from the fans actually acting, the actors, the cast and crew for sure. Absolutely. Thank you for that little bit of news. It's time to talk about our little giveaway that we're doing.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Oh, well, let's get to predictions. Why not? We'll do the giveaway after predictions. So, who is ready to give their predictions? I can go for it if you want me to go first.
Okay, go.
Go.
Okay, I think Mina's dad, Dr. Hess, is in danger. I think because their relationship is going to change according to Ali Maki between Tandy and Mina. So I think Mina will blame Tandy for the death of her dad. I think Olivia's in trouble. I think Tandy's in trouble with Scarborough still, and I think Bridget is going to go on this crazy vengeance ride. She's going to seek revenge in any way, shape, or form. Her man is dead, and I think this is really setting us up for mayhem for sure.
Oh, yes.
What do you guys think? That's off the top of my head.
I agree with all of those. I definitely think I would like to see who this alleged uncle is that covered it up, because obviously Connors is just the tip of the iceberg, and so I still kind of think the uncle's gonna be Kingpin. Wouldn't be mad at it. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm trying to think what's going to happen with Tyrone.
I know, that's what I was trying to
because
think about.
I'm blanking on him because he got what he wanted in this episode.
I think he's gonna find that this doesn't necessarily. I mean, it's gonna have a short-lived gratification. It's not gonna feel good for that long, and then he's gonna have to try to control not wanting to continue to find revenge and justice.
Gotcha.
I wonder if he's gonna realize that it was Auntie Clarice that was in, if he'll put those two together and maybe seek her, because she seems like she's on their side.
Yeah.
And then I think, I know in the chat we've talked about the death flags that were waving with Bridget O'Reilly, so I wonder if that was what this was about, or if there's more to come and that will become her mayhem, which would be awesome. But like Drew said, I feel like there's a lot of characters that won't come out this season.
Yeah, I think mayhem would. I think maybe we'd see it like as a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And then maybe but that would be something explored next
But I'm
season, I
sold on her as an actor. Like she's awesome.
She's so
and we were
good.
saying that when she was playing Detective Connors, we're like, that was good. Like you would have tricked me. And I think that Tandy's gonna have like kind of like another like relapse, so to speak, and then Tyrone's gonna have to pull her out.
Damn.
And hopefully her mom can give her some peace with the situation.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, I totally forgot that we have a surprise for next week.
Oh.
Speaking of Bridget
Oh
O'Reilly,
yes.
she's gonna be in the studio.
Ooh.
So
It's official.
it's official. She's gonna be in the studio next week. So which makes me think it's gonna be a very heavily based O'Reilly episode.
Absolutely.
So
Oh my gosh, I can't wait.
I know. I'm so excited now that I like just randomly thought about it. So if you have questions for her, obviously
Yeah, send them
let
our
us
way.
know, and we'll get those popping.
Ooh, we're gonna find out who
Yes.
killed Fuchs. Do you think it was the? I think it was the water bottle girl.
Water bottle girl. I think Ivan Hess is gonna die because Allie said herself, we have not seen the last of
Exactly.
the assassin, and so I think the assassin is coming to get
Please, no.
coming to get our good old boy Ivan.
I like him.
So much is
know.
going on. Guys, let us know what you think is going to happen. Chat with us in the comments, on Twitter, any social media platform. We love to hear from you guys because the show doesn't end here. But before we go, we got to talk about our little giveaway that we're going to do at the season finale of the Cloak and Dagger After Show. And so if you want to win this, I don't have the comic with me today, but we're giving away the first mini-series of Cloak and Dagger, their origins with Detective O'Reilly. All you have to do is leave us a 5-star review on iTunes or a 5-star review in the comics section if you are an Android user. And let us know what you love about us, because we love you. And at the end of the last episode for our after show, we're going to pull a name from all the reviewers out of a hat or a cloak, whatever. And all you have to do is send us your information, the name we pull. And the comic, last part, the comic's going to be signed by the cast of Cloak and Dagger. Because Ali Maki, she already signed it. And we're going to have plenty more. And it's going to be amazing. I want to keep this prize, y'all. So send us those reviews, and you might win a very special comic. So
Yes, I want to win that.
I'm going to enter. No.
Right?
So it's time to wrap up, unfortunately. Guys, where can we find you on social media?
You guys can follow me on all the things at OKDrewJ, and if you want to see all the behind the scenes of Comic-Con, you can check out okdrewj.com.
Yes.
Woohoo! I'm Steph Sabraw. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Steph Sabraw, and don't forget to reach out during this Comic-Con week.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Oliver Drennan. Follow me on all social media platforms at Ollie Dreamer. We are going to be at Comic-Con. It's going to be amazing. Keep in touch with us because we want to keep in touch with you. We love you guys. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.